we are firm believers in, if you keep an open mind and if you help out people as much as you can and be likable as a band, as a person in general, that good things will happen to you. So, the way we've been treated is also the way we treat others.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Your death will be my soul's demise. I'll carry your sins.
Zora and René, thank you so much for your time today. Specifically today, as we're recording this, we're about a week away of the release of the new album, and we are less than a week away of the start of the tour. So the fact that two of you just take the time to sit down and talk to me is impressive, because I'm sure you've got lots of things to worry about right now.
We do.
Awesome. Now let's start on. Okay, you're a week away of the release of the album. This is far from the first release as a band you do. However, fair to say that there's some nervousness with this one. This is a special release for you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it will be our first release with a label, Nuclear Blast Records. So that's very excited. I'm always nervous before releasing anything. So I always hope people will love it, but also very excited, of course.
Yeah. Well, and we see that René is already doing his job there, wearing a Nuclear Blast hat. So
Yeah. Well,
he's on point and on brand. There you go.
Well, this was gifted to me by people from the label, one of the persons in our team, and on Summer Breeze actually. So, and now I'm wearing it with a lot of pride.
There you go. Now, does this, Zora? You said I'm always a little nervous when I release anything into the wild. Nuclear Blast is Nuclear Blast. Does that create extra pressure for you or for the band that, this is with as far as metal labels go, a major player?
No, I don't think necessarily that it gives more pressure. It's always like just the little thoughts like, oh, I hope people will love the songs. that's just the nervousness for me. But I hope with Nuclear Blast that we can reach as many people with this new album.
For almost a decade, you guys were the ultimate do-it-yourself band, and you had 100% control in everything. Working with different teams, very professional teams, is maybe an adjustment. What's been in this process with allowing others in and also relying on others to scale out more and take it to the next level? What's been the biggest takeaway or biggest lesson for you?
A biggest lesson is, that maybe not a lesson, but the biggest change for us is that we now have a team of skilled people around us, all the time, for anything that we would need. But in terms of being a do-it-yourself band, it was actually one of our, terms, so to say, when we went into this collaboration with the label, that we could continue doing as much as we did ourselves. Okay. So we really wanted to not only have the creative control as an artist, but also on the business side of things, and doing the artwork, the music videos, everything that you can imagine that we can do ourselves. We try to still do ourselves. It's a little bit frustrating for our team sometimes, but on the other end, it's just where our passion lies. Right. So this is what we love to do. And therefore, we basically wanted to continue that. So what's changed is that we have a lot of creative minds around us. They can advise us, they can help us, and they actually do massively. So, but we're still continuing to grow as a band, as artists. So yeah, that's the biggest difference, that we have multiple brains to brainstorm with.
I'll carry your sins.
we know in a time where everybody was trying to be very modern sounding, a little bit genty, what have you. You guys come out a couple of years ago with callbacks to that alternative rock and that symphonic metal from the 90s. And I would almost say, on paper, you would go like, well, clearly the wave is going in a different direction, but all of a sudden, boom, there's 19 million views of your video. Like, have you had a time, I know you've been busy with EPs and albums and contracts and so on, but do you take a step back regularly to go like, holy shit, like, that wasn't really, expected to happen, and it did. Is that something that you let sink in at times?
Yeah, I remember when with the Until Eternity video that like blew up all of a sudden. That was like mind-blowing for us. And still is actually, but because it was our first song into our direction that we wanted to go, because before that we were just like doing something completely different and really didn't work for us, especially for me and my voice. So this was the first thing that I came up with, like, can we do something with this? Because I came up with the melody and the vocals first. And then it actually worked and people liked it, and it grew and it grew, and we still don't know what happened. And still are amazed by it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it's good that you're not necessarily just following the wave of whatever's going, but that you kind of find your own path. Because, like I said, it's funny to see that, here in North America, we've got bands like Seven Spires and Seven Kingdoms, and we have more bands than just bands that start with the word seven. But, And in Europe, you've got bands like Ad Infinitum that we'll talk about in just a second, I'm sure, and Elaine and what have you, that are taking the same core of music, but into, more modern electro, very colorful, very bright, literally very colorful, right? There's like a whole rainbow on the cover of the album. You guys take it slightly in a different direction, a little bit more monochrome. Is that has become seems to be really part of the identity now of the band. What's that helps you stand out? Does that potentially feel limiting? Like, is it like, oh, well, people are not going to expect that our next album is going to be black and white with a splash of red? Or are you guys going like, you know what, next time we'll just do gold and silver and purple, and we do what we want to do?
When we started this band, we did a contest for our band logo. And that's actually where our, the overall visual theme that we have or wear currently, this is actually, it started there. So we needed the logo, and we did a contest online and put up money for the winner. And then there were like 100 of people that, shared their artwork for us with us. And we picked the winner, which was Alip. And Alip is the person that's up until this day still is doing all the artwork that we do. And we just stick with him because he was, a mastermind at making our visual ideas come to life. So in terms of artwork or a t-shirt design. That's where that started. But, when we started this band, we just did what we wanted to do anyway. So we had an interest for black and white, high contrast, both in our music as in our artwork. And, we've just been doing the same thing because we enjoy doing that thing for the past 6 years.
And we love that people can recognize that it's, that's a Blackbriar,
Exactly. So we're basically telling stories through our artwork as well, instead of having like a band picture or maybe some random typical artwork, if you ask me. So that's where that comes from. And in terms of, like you said, the monochrome or colorful music, it's not like we chose a direction necessarily, but it is just what, where our interest lies. So mainly this comes from Zora, who is the inspiration for us as musicians, but because she writes the melodies and the lyrics, and then afterwards we write the music. So we write our music to Zora's voice. And if she's mainly been inspired by the Victorian era, Kate Bush, all of that stuff, and the myths and folks and legends, and that's why we kind of not necessarily stuck, but we use a variety of themes throughout our music, and that's where that comes from.
You are my muse and entice me into song.
So a question for you then, Zora, now that René talks about the storytelling aspect of the band. This record again is let's call it drenched in sadness and melancholia in the most beautiful way. And you tell specific stories. Now you can take that in two different ways. You can follow along as if it is an actual story, every song with a start, arc, and ending, and what have you. Or you can take a lot of what's being been shared with us as metaphors, if you will. When you write, like, what for you is the most important angle? Is it to share that, because everybody calls out, Blackbriar, they're great storytellers. They're fantastic.
I always like to secretly add a lot of my personal life in there as well. Instead of just being about a fairy tale or something. So there's a lot of my personal life in it as well, but I do love like the whole storytelling and
Is it then, to kind of like, what's the dream for you then? Because obviously we've seen some really beautifully made video clips as well, even before you had the power of a label behind you. Like stuff like, just last weekend in Tilburg, we had the Aryan weekend, where, some of the greatest shows on earth are brought to a stage, is like doing some sort of, and I say this with all the respect, a Broadway musical style approach for Blackbriar. Is that what would be a dream for you guys?
Oh, I would love like if we like our live shows to be more in theme of the songs and theatrical. That would be amazing, but costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot of money, a lot of people involved. You'll have to let go a little bit of control as well. Might be a nightmare, but.
Maybe we should call Arjen then and ask him if he could do it for us.
I mean, there you go. He doesn't want to be on stage anyway, right? Like he prefers to be behind the stage. And yet with Joost, you already have, or Lul, as we should call him.
Exactly.
We already have the connection there as well. Zora, you're singing. I know that a lot of people, especially internationally, will call out Kate Bush for specific songs and for all the right reasons. On this album, I had a chance to listen to the full album already. I do find that I can hear some Charlotte Wessels influences clearly on your singing as well. Now, obviously, you've joined her on stage and you guys have played together. A question I want to have for you, because I've spoken to Charlotte many times, and she's loving this part of her career where people come to her saying like, you were my inspiration, just as much that she used to say, Anneke van Giersbergen, she's my inspiration. You're now at a level as a band that you're inspiring the next generation, and that you get to have people support for you. You're big enough to be that headlining band now. Are you guys, and maybe this is a question for both of you, are you staying in touch with what's happening in the local scenes? Like, are you aware of what are the bands that are popping up that you want to promote more or support more?
Oh yeah, I love to follow all the bands in the genre and stuff. And watch all the new music videos and
I'm working a lot with local bands actually. So I usually either help them write songs, or produce some stuff here for them, or I'm working on the business end of things. Setting up some shows for them. My drum technician Marnik, he's in a band, and we filmed their music video. We did set them up with Jos at Sandlane Recording Facilities. As a band, we do try to help out as much as we can in terms of following them, seeing what they're doing, and if we get emails like every week. Not right now because I'm not reading most of them in this busy period, but usually we look at it, we try to help them. We're always open for a call or. So yeah, that's what happened. Not necessarily happened to us when we started. So we really had to figure everything out ourselves, and that's also why we've been a do-it-yourself band for so long. Joost was only introduced to us like in quite a late stage of this band, where we, for the way we felt at least, had things figured out already a little bit. It was more in terms of financials where we were still kind of struggling.
Right.
But we had to figure it out mostly. But even these days, we're slightly bigger now, but we still need advice from people like Joost or, Epica. We try to stay in touch to make sure that, if we need help, that they can help us out.
Is there a sense of, because you mentioned Epica, obviously, that tour a couple of years ago of Epica was one of those elements that when you look back at your career, like, okay, that was a jump for us to the next level. Is there, because those established bands took you under their wings, do you have a sense of like almost and do you feel like you kind of owe that to the scene or the bands that are coming after you, that you can do the same for them? Like, is there a level of that?
Yeah, always. I mean, we are firm believers in, if you keep an open mind and if you help out people as much as you can and be likable as a band, as a person in general, that good things will happen to you. So, the way we've been treated is also the way we treat others in that regards. Like when you mention Epica, they did take us under their wings, and we have actually a lot to thank them for. In terms of, they provided us with a bigger stage, but also worth a mention is that we would have never been signed to Nuclear Blast if it wasn't for Epica or for Epica's management, or how you want to call it. I mean, they are the ones, or he is the one who introduced us to Nuclear Blast. So, and that's, that all came from them giving us the opportunity. So yeah, forever grateful, definitely.
Let's be honest, for all the right and all the wrong reasons, a band with a singer like Zora will absorb naturally a lot of the attention or a lot of the focus. Zora, whether you want it or not, you're going to be the face of this band for a bigger and bigger audience. And that can come with additional pressures and stress and sometimes just stuff you don't want to deal with. Being able to rely on not just bandmates, but life partners that are going through that journey with you, is that helping offset more of that pressure? In other words, is René doing a good job helping you out?
No.
Be careful.
No, I am really like the more sensitive one in regards of what you just mentioned, like if you have like hundreds of nice comments and there's one bad one, then it sticks. And René always says like, but look at all the good comments, Yeah, of course, everybody is. We are all like a family in the whole band, so we all are so there for each other.
Exactly. Even though we are a couple, we really very much do this all together. So with the whole band, everybody has their role within the band, and we are doing the work all together. So Zora's mainly the creative person. She comes up with all the ideas for the music videos. She writes the lyrics and the melodies. In terms of business, I'm more, leaning towards that. But I also write the music. But I'm very much interested in the business side of things.
Right.
And the other band members all have their duties and playing their part. So yeah, of course, Zora can rely on us. When there's people that seek her attention, we're almost all the time just right behind her, So especially after the show, we're there. Don't worry about it, And luckily, everybody's always been very respectful towards Zora, and always everything's been good. So Yeah.
Awesome.
Also grateful for that, by the way, because we've heard horror stories, but luckily never happened to Zora or us.
I bet. Well, I mean, some of the bands that we were mentioning earlier, they were not in an international scene where there were as many bands around as nowadays, which is, you know, it's definitely improved. So that's great. Yeah. And a perfect example of that is the tour that you're doing with Ad Infinitum. Two bands that are very similar in some ways, some of the more exciting new symphonic-based bands out there, but also very different, which is great because otherwise it would be boring. You don't want to listen to the same band twice in a row. So to wrap us up, I mean, obviously we have the album coming as well, but for this tour that everybody's going to go to in Europe, what can we expect?
Well, first of all, we are going on tour even before the album will be out. So they are going to, the first 4 shows or something are going to be very special because we are going to play the new songs that people haven't heard before. And yeah, René.
Yeah, for the rest, I mean, we're both Ad Infinitum and us are extremely excited about this tour, and we've been working for months to, you know, realize this together. So yeah, it's been up until now, it's been a huge pleasure to do this co-headline tour with them. You know, they are such a great band. We've seen them perform live many times already, and yeah, it's high energy, great music, great people. And yeah, we're very much looking forward to it. So
Phantom Elite will be supporting us.
Yeah,
which is an amazing band as well. And our bass player plays in the band Phantom Elite as well. So he has
double.
He's gonna be tired.
Yeah,
he's gonna be tired.
Definitely.
But that's good because, you know, he usually has way too much energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the singles that have been released are on one half of the album. Don't give away too many secrets or details. For me personally, I think that in the songs that have not been released yet, there's maybe even more surprises and things that are a little bit more unique. So it will be great for all those people to discover that live for the first time. Yeah. René, Zora, thank you so much for your time. I know these are hectic days and you've got a million things to take care of. So go do that. And I hope, obviously, that we get to see you guys, like Ad Infinitum very recently, see you play here in North America.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And if not, we'll just have to come back to Europe and see you on stage there.
Thank you so much for your time, Jasper.
Thank you so much.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.